Clap if you are enjoying this conference so far. Yes. Clap if you're coming back next year. Yes. And clap if you're going to bring some of your colleagues next year. All right. We thank you for your participation. We thank you for coming. We are enjoying the conference. And if you see someone with an Ask Me badge, let us know. What do you think? Let us know if we need to do something more or less. We love to hear from you. I am going to give you an introduction of our speaker, Dr. Tommie Mabry. First, President Tonda mentioned about the affiliates. I am the president of Metropolitan Cleveland Alliance of Black School Educators. So if you live in the Cleveland area, I would be happy to have you join us as a member, and your membership dues also pays for your Ohio Alliance dues. So you will be a member of the Ohio Alliance as well as your local. All right. Dr. Mabry is a renowned international speaker, nationally acclaimed educator, and published author. His history of the trial, success, and service has inspired millions around the world. News of Dr. Mabry's achievements instantly went viral, breaking national headlines. Dr. Mabry has appeared on USA Today, PBS Network, BET Soul, and many more. Dr. Mabry grew up in one of Jackson's, Mississippi, roughest neighborhoods. Trouble followed him everywhere. Before and after 5th grade, when he was arrested for breaking into state fairgrounds. After that arrest, he was suspended or expelled from several schools due to his behavior. A judge once prophesied that in 5 years, his attitude would either get him killed or incarcerated. Tommie grinned at the judge, who did not know that the monster lurking within him was fueled by the prophecy. Things started to change for Tommie when he joined the AAU basketball league that traveled around the world. He was the first person in his family to graduate from high school. When he crossed the stage at the school of 2007, although he was shot in the foot after skipping school during his senior year, Tommie healed and received a full scholarship to Missouri State University, West Plains, for basketball. He later received a BA cum laude in education from Tougaloo College, his MA in child development in 2017. After his undergraduate studies, Tommie was hired as a teacher by the same Jackson Public School District that had suspended and expelled him many times during his elementary and secondary education. Dr. Mabry's story and achievements have enabled him to use his voice to inspire and impact millions as a renowned speaker. Dr. Mabry received his doctorate degree from Jackson State University in 2020, where he majored in urban higher education. He has written and published 4 books that target all age groups. He travels the world sharing his story to motivate and inspire others, and he lives by the motto, I cannot walk in my future with my foot in my past. So we're going to watch a video of Dr. Mabry, and then we will receive him. Thank you.
What's up, dog? Hey, y'all, this is your boy Tommie from, you know me, Tommie from Martin. But I'm not here to talk to you about me. I'm here to talk to you about my little brother, Tommie Mabry. You have got to read this book, A Dog's Journey to a Light Future, and check out the documentary. I'm telling you, this man's life can change your life. I met this young man when he was a senior in high school. He had been shot. He was a gangster. He was a thug. I watched him turn from man on the street to a great upstanding man of God. I'm telling you, I saw this transformation right before my eyes. And you need to see this. Your family needs to see this. Every young man and young woman need to see this documentary. I'm telling you, Tommie, I just want you to know, brother, I'm proud to say that I am your friend. I'm proud to say I am your big brother. I'm proud to say that I am your mentor. I love you, brother. And remember, you got a job, dog. Ha, 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 ha.
I was kicked out of 10 schools in all. I repeated 8th grade. I got permanent gold teeth in middle school. So I started tattooing my body at a young age. That was cool to my environment. That's the fight. That's the acceptance I was fighting for. That's what got the praise in my neighborhood. I wanted to be like that. I got locked up my 5th grade year for breaking in the state fairground. Judge told me in 5 years I'd be dead or locked up. And you would think that that'll stop me right then, but it didn't. I was fighting for acceptance. You was lame in my neighborhood if you pulled your pants up. Sad to say, you was lame in my neighborhood if you had your book bag on. In my neighborhood, sometimes you only have 3 options. It's either you're gonna sell drugs, you're gonna play sports, or you're gonna rap. And I played basketball. I was ranked in the country. I was getting recruited by all these colleges. In second period, 10 o'clock, freak accident. Only if I had stayed in school. I walked out to school in the neighborhood with my friends and got shot in my foot. When I got shot, nobody came to visit me. I laid on that bed by myself. And everything in my mind was just telling me, like, everybody supports you when you're at your highs. But when you're at your lowest, you'll see who actually in your corner. I'm just laying on that bed and I'm like, if God can give me one more chance at this, I separate myself from the environment, but I learned something. In order to get something you never had, you gotta do something you never did and become a person you never been. I look back at that 8th grade Tommie, I just wish I could have told him then, like, man, keep going, be patient, man, keep going. It's gonna turn around soon.
You need to bubble wrap. No, wait, don't open it yet.
Man, I'm sorry, man. I just always wanted to know what that felt like to break those barriers, to open that degree, and know that you holding possibilities in your hand.
Give me the bubble wrap. I'm so excited. She's so excited. Oh, bubbles.
My children, I want them to see that their dad never quit.
Kids do what they do every day, but it brings me to this. When an individual mindset switches from me to we, the driving force is different. I think you all are superheroes to me. Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. Let me pause. Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. We shouldn't be begging for a pay raise. You all should be the highest paid.
Amen.
But never walk into that building like you're insignificant. No matter what's your role in the school, anytime you're around a child is a teaching moment. You want me to tell you who had the biggest impact on me in the school? It wasn't the principal. It was the custodian. And every day I walked into that building, he knew all my skip spots. I was good too. I had some of the best skip spots. But he would tell me this. He said, every day that I see you skipping, I'm coming to find you because when I was in school, I messed up, young man. See, that let me know he was working for outcome, not income. See, that's a different perspective. See, perspective is made up of your morals, your beliefs, your values, your lived experiences. I know you all should be the highest paid in the country. But see, he thought he came in with a different perspective. He said, anytime I'm around a child is a teaching moment to get that kind of spirit. You know who else had the biggest impact on me? The cafeteria workers. They're not in here. Because I used to think they were the meanest women on this planet. They wouldn't give me nothing free. Even as a teacher, I think teachers should get something free. But I had this cafeteria worker who, before you suspend him, she would tell my principal, before you suspend him, can you please just let him come and clean the cafeteria? Let me vent to him. Let me let you all understand something. You give me 10 days at home, right? I didn't want to be in your building in the first place. I'm adapting every day I'm in that building. My comfort zone is outside. I hated that building. So when you give me 10 days at home and I know you go to work at 8, I'm in your house by 10. We'll call that. So from that perspective, if I hate school, and I can tell young men this every day, how is you going to tell me you hate school? Every day that I say, school not for me. You mean to tell me school not for you, but jail is? I went into this cell and I sat next to this guy, and he drew a picture of me and gave me colorful ink. I said, dude, how you get color ink in jail? He said, I mixed some watercolors together. I said, wait a minute, dude, you about to tell me how intelligent you are? How innovative you really are? Another guy was doing tattoos. He had a stump pad. Now, a stump pad is when you put your foot on it and say, and you take it off. I said, man, how you get that in here? He said, man, I hot wired some stuff. I said, okay, I'm done. He had an iPhone. I said, well, how you charge it, man? It's not an outlet. He said, run a wire to the light switch. I said, okay, that's it. You mean to tell me they had to give you 23 hours of lockdown, 1 hour of rest for you to realize how intelligent you are? But if we fail to educate them, we incarcerate them. Don't you want to see some of your brilliant-minded kids? Go there. I had a guy that told me, he said, man, I always been smart, I just hated school. I couldn't understand why Y equals MX plus B even mattered to my life. See, I'm talking about helping the kid cross. We said children bridges, understanding them from their core, understanding them from their essence. You can't leave me out until you can enter my world. You got to see what I'm operating off. Why do I say school is not for me? Why do kids say, what is the main thing they say? School is what? Boring. But it is boring.
It is.
Look at what they're comparing to. See, we can't come from our perspective. We understand what they are there for, but they got Instagram. They got TikTok. In the morning, I got to be in a straight line. I got to stay in this line, can't get out. I got to be engaged for 8 hours a day. If I step out of line and speak, I get rolled up. When I get to class, I got an 8-hour assignment. Then when I get home, I got a homework assignment. When I get to the cafeteria, I still can't talk. Y'all don't think school boring to them? School shouldn't feel like I was sentenced to 12 years in education. I was trying to convince this young lady. I said, go to college, ma'am. You got it. I said, you got to go to college. She said, why do I need college, sir? She said, my mom is a bartender. My mom makes $2,000 a week. I said, well, you got me in. Because I know what that's congruent to. But from her perspective, they did what they did in my house. We didn't talk about education in my house. But you know what we did talk about? When you turn 18, you better go get what? That become the focus. I was doing a PD at a school, and I tell this story when I'm speaking so I can let you understand when you say building bridges to help a kid cross. If a kid comes to school late, it has nothing to do with the kid. My daughters are 10 and 6. That's my fault, right? This kid walked through the metal detector, and it went off. And I'm looking at him, I said, don't be so quick to judge that. He tried to get his bag back. He told the principal, he said, sir, I need that bag back. The principal said, no, you can't come in. They emptied his bag out. He had a bag full of candy. He said, sir, I need that bag back. And I've seen that face before. Man, I know what that face looked like. And the thing that impressed me about educators, 9 times out of 10, if you went through something growing up, you're going to do it when you get older. Like I hated school growing up. It's no coincidence that this is what I'm doing. If you battle trauma growing up, you're going to battle. It's something about that we are connected to for some reason. And I've seen that face before. He said, sir, I need that bag back. He said, go to class. He broke the metal detector with his bare hand. True story. Principal said, get him out of here. He's suspended. I said, no, you all stop. Let me talk to him. And I broke him down. I said, look, man, what does that candy mean to you? He said, you wouldn't understand in a million years what it means to me. I said, I get it, but apparently they don't. I said, tell me what that candy means to you. The principal said, get him out of here. He got to go. I said, I told you to stop, man. I said, what does that candy mean to you? And what came out of his mouth, it shifted the whole trajectory, right? He said, if I don't bring that profit home, I don't make rent. And I'm not easy to convince. If you knew where I come, like you can't convince me that easy. So we called mom. Everything this kid said, she validated. And she told me you're a man of the house. And I said, man, I'm not there. You know I'm 35 and I'm the man of the house. You know what that means? You know what kind of pressure that looks like? And you're putting that on a 6th grade kid? And we're talking about leveraging. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about building bridges for tomorrow. You got to understand that situation first. You told him he was suspended, right? He said, sir, my mom is on food stamps. He said she get this EBT card and she's a candy lady in the neighborhood. What she doesn't sell, I bring her to school and that's my portion of the rent. He said, I make $20 a day, sir. At the end of the week, that's $100. At the end of the month, that's $400. I was hurt. I said, man, you are the man of the house. I asked the principal, I said, did you know that? Leadership, right? I said, did you know that situation? He cried. He said, I had no clue. That's a problem, sir. Because you was getting ready to send him back into an environment. I asked the assistant principal, I said, you on duty too? Did you know that situation? She said, no, I had no clue. That's a problem, sir, ma'am. I went to the counselor. I said, okay, now this your area. She said, I had no clue, but he's a great kid. My problem with this is my problem. I don't expect you to know every kid that walked through, but this kid didn't have a relationship with nobody in the building. And you was getting ready to send them back. Come on, Abraham Maslow theory, the hierarchy, the special needs of a kid. He said the longer a person go unfed, the hungrier that person get until a need is fulfilled that a kid can't operate in a certain capacity. That's not me, that's theory. Come on, Bloom's taxonomy. Why are we using it? Why are we talking about it? That was a moment, sir. But in order to lead them out, you got to enter this world. You all deal with so much that's bigger than you. I get emotional when I tell this story because I was speaking out of town and I got a video in my hometown. And it broke me down. It gave me emotional because when I opened the video, I watched this young lady leave a high school. She walked to the nearest highway, right? She stood over the overpass. And I heard the lady in the back, she said, please don't jump. And this was recent. She said, ma'am, please don't jump. And I'm thinking if I was there, I would have given my life. Because I got a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. She put her legs together and she let go. And it hurt me because I said, what got to happen for you to get to that point? What got to happen for you to get to that point? Don't you know if that was my student, I probably could never teach another day. If I was a principal at that school, I couldn't come back. But you got to understand what kids, and I said to myself that this didn't happen yesterday. This didn't just occur today. This is something that happened on a daily basis. But they said it takes a village to raise a child. How many of you all heard that before? But what if the village corrupt? Come on, Ohio, I'm from Jackson, I'm here today. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but what if the village corrupt? I remember where that quote came from. I remember when my grandparents tell me when they got into any trouble before they make it home to Sunday school teacher. So I already did one. And I'm not asking you to whoop these kids, but what I'm trying to tell you, that quote stood on accountability. That means I don't have to be your parent for me to hold you accountable. Who you think raising our kids? In the morning, listen, I see my daughters from 6 to 7, maybe that's 1 hour. In the afternoon, I see my daughters, they got gymnastics, barely they taking all my money. I see them another 2 hours before they go to bed, but you all see my daughters 40 hours a week. You know what I tell parents when they come in, I say, listen, you should be the teacher's biggest advocate. She raising your kids. I get angry when I see those situations because all you do is build a tension between you. Let me tell you why I'm so passionate about education. Listen, and my daughter's not even exempt from this conversation. My daughter came home and she's 10. She said, Dad, the teacher hollered at me today, and she almost made me cry. So when I got on the phone with her teacher, I said, what happened? She said, sir, I'm not going to even lie to you. She said, I had a moment. I'm human. She said, I tried everything. I know my daughter, first off, you did try everything. She said, I did raise my voice. I said, stop, ma'am, I support you. Good job. Ma'am, I support you. Good job. I understand you all human. I sometimes feel like educators are not human because what you got to encounter daily. See, you know what I get mad about when the outside say our teachers are not doing this? First of all, what gives you the audacity? If you've never been in a school building before, what gives you the audacity? You know what? I don't like Dallas, so I'm leaving here to speak to the Department of Education. Well, I really don't like Dallas because I know the variables that represent the Dallas. Every time I do an assembly at a school, I ask the kids, how many of you are when it's time to take tests? And you don't feel like reading 5 paragraphs to answer 3 questions, and you just start bawling in answers. And all the kids' hands go up. See, we're not talking about ability right here, we're talking about effort. And I get angry when I tell them that because I say, you make the outside think it's the teacher's fault. And I travel the country every day. So that means this is being tested, right? I've tested this theory, every hand goes up, but now when they rate our school district, and they say this is a D school, F school, it look like it's the teachers. But understand the kids from their perspective. But we said we're going to help them cross, right? I was doing a PD at a school. And this principal, I was standing on the outside. This kid walked up. I smelled the aroma. I knew what he was smoking. It was loud, too. It was real loud. And I'm there to do a PD. I was almost looking. I had almost caught it. Hey, Jones, listen. I almost caught it. But it was a parent outside with him, right? And she said, how you just gonna let him come into school like that, smelling like that? And when he told her, shift my whole perspective. He said, ma'am, as long as he's here today. See, when you in leadership, that's one of the components. You gotta make some of the hardest decisions. You're not gonna please everybody. But we talk about IQ so much, the intelligence quotient, but we very seldom talk about the AQ, the adaptability quotient, your ability to adapt to change. Come on. Want me to have that? You said, I gotta take it. See, leadership, like you don't manage people, you need people.
We don't want your message being lost because they can't hear you on the video.
I love it. See, leadership, give me some. You lost me. But no, back to it. But the adaptability quotient, your ability to adapt to change. He had to make a decision. He said, you know what? Every day that this kid is here, I got him. Long as I can get him in this building, he said, ma'am, I know what he smelled like, but this kid going back and forth to the detention center, he said, but when this kid is here, he usually follow direction. Ma'am, I'm trying to help him cross. See, we talking about building bridges. That's the concept, and it's hard because that's perspective. On one hand, you look at it from this. See, the difference between me and you, it's not that I'm right and you wrong, it's our perspective is different. I don't have to accept what you got to say, but I can understand it. That's the ability to understand what our kids are dealing with. You know the movie that I love to this day, one of the best movies in the world. How many of you all watched Lean On Me before? Oh, Joe Clark. Listen. Don't do anything I'm telling you Joe Clark did. But Joe Clark had a guy. Now we're talking about leadership, right? We're talking about in order to lead them out. It was this situation. What the little boy, Sam, listen to me. He first told Kanisha, he said, I'm in my office every day at 5 a.m. if you need me, right? When Mr. Clark kicked all the kids out of school, who was the first kid to beat him to school? Sam. Now, you just said that you come to school around 5. Sam got a history of not being on time, but he beat you to school. And he said, sir, I'm one of those kids you kicked out, but guess what? Mom can't know I got suspended. Enter his world, right? He took him to the roof. Don't do this now. I'm not, look. Hey, look, you my witness, right? Listen. He took him to the roof and he did something so phenomenal with him. Like he knew that he didn't want Sam to jump. He said, you smoke crack, don't you? Don't you smoke crack? He said, you're killing your brain cells, son. You're killing your brain cells. Don't mess around with it. Do it expeditiously. He didn't really want him to jump. But when he wanted to tell him that was congruent, you know who was one of his biggest scholars at that moment? Because when the kid know that you care, when a kid know that you really care, man, they will fight. How many times you walk in Walmart and see your previous kids, they just run up to you? I'm going to bring Sam back, but watch this. It was this young lady named Kanisha. Man, he walked past the office. Kanisha said something so profound she was crying. And you all got Kanisha in your room. She said, my mama don't want me anymore. Pause. She said, my mom don't want me anymore. He didn't go and get his counselor, right? He didn't say, listen, I'm going to get somebody. No, he got his assistant principal. He went to her house. He didn't go to the Beverly Hills. He went to the hood. He knocked on the door and he told the mom something significant. He said, she can't perform without you. You used to be one of my favorite parents growing up, but life hit her. He said, can I give you some resources, right? We're talking about leveraging again. He said, can I give you some resources? If we help you get a job, can you please get back in her life? Like I'm talking about that kind of administrator who sin for something that they are not before they was. Fast forward. When they locked Joe Clark, of course, they locked him up. Who was the first person to grab the microphone? Sam said, we don't want a new principal, we want Mr. Clark. First of all, he just told you to fly. But Kanisha, she got the mic and she said, you all don't know nothing about Mr. Clark. He the only father that some of us have. Come on now, I'm talking about the parents in this room. I'm not asking you to be a perfect educator. I'm asking you to be a present one. I told you can't lead them out until you can understand where they come. You got to reach his soul. You got to reach his essence. I didn't come from a situation where I told you I'm adapting every day I'm in that building. I hate that place. I don't want to be there. It's called activation over education for me. When you get a debit card in the mail, no matter how much money you got in the bank, you can't use it until you do what with it? No matter how much money in the bank, you can't use it until, no matter how much potential this kid got inside, he can't use it until he's activated first. When you pull that script back, I love the SPED acronym. C, S, see them. P, provide for them. E, encourage them. And the D, direct them. It's something about when you see a kid, though. I'm not asking you to look at them. I'm talking about when you see a kid, you see it within. But the P, when I'm talking about providing, I'm talking about providing a space so this kid can operate in. If I'm good with my hands, if you give me the arena to be great, if you get me in my gift, I would do math. But you got to find a way to get me to that point. But the E, you got to encourage them. But the D, you got to direct them. When you get those components, I had a 6th grade teacher. Now that I'm old enough, I know she was running reverse psychology on me the whole time. And I didn't even know what it meant to college. Like, she had so many ways to reach me, but she differentiated in a whole different way. She knew she had to reach my self-esteem first, because if she can't reach my self-esteem, she can't get me to learn. Every day she come in the classroom, she'll put something on the board and she'll say, Tommie, can you come to the office? She said, my star student. I'm like, ooh, she's going to do this every morning. Every day she needed somebody to run errands. She'll say, Tommie, I got you. Tommie, can you go do this? See, she was giving me a leadership position. Because when a kid know that you see them, and it's okay, you can ignore me all you want to in the class. I'm going to show back up in your data, though. Who caught that? I'm going to show right back up in the, if you fail to educate me, I'm going to show back up, because my job is to provoke everybody around me. So if you don't use me, I'm going to provoke you to act up. And you're going to provoke him to act up. I'm the leader in your classroom. If you use the leader in your classroom, you got them. I'll be the one that get them in line for you. When they see that report at me and you, Bill, that's the kind of mindset. I remember going in a football coach class, and he was teaching math. He was teaching them the Y-intercept. I said, Coach, come on, I said, they not engaged. Half of them are football players, Coach. I said, be innovative. I said, when they're in the neighborhood, Robert, you play football. They in the neighborhood drawing plays like this. Go up. I said, show them how to go up the X-axis, cut across the Y-axis. That's a positive slope. How many yards you catch? You should have called them. The kids were so engaged. They were like, Coach, catch me on the Y, catch me on the X. I said, Coach, you got it. I said, you trying to teach them to learn the way that you teach instead of teaching the way that they learn. That's a different perspective. I said, if TikTok got their attention, use it. Find out how to use it, because our kids are coming in. First of all, a lot of them think it's smart to be dumb and dumb to be smart. That was Tommie. I hated school, right? But I know it's some great kids that come through your building. But bad company corrupt character. Bad company corrupt character. I was on duty one time. This young man, he got out his mom's car. And he kissed her. He said, Mama, I love you. She said, do great today. He said, yes, ma'am. She left, and he came up to me and pulled his pants down. I said, nah, man, you better pull them back up. I saw what you just did. And you said, yes, ma'am. But I also understand you're getting ready to walk into an environment. Learned behaviors, that's where I'm at. Let me make sure I'm in the right room, because I'm from Mississippi. Let me explain what learned behaviors look like. Learned behaviors, right? I'm from an environment, they say if somebody hit you to do what? Ooh, I'm going to stay away from you. You're not letting nobody play with you, huh? Ever. She said ever. I'm from an environment they say if somebody hit you to do what? How many of you all, show of hands, just be honest, would let me come and hit you right now and you just stand there? But the rule states. But the rule states. If somebody hits you to do what? Come on. Walk away from a fight, tell the teacher. Don't you know you asking me to do the hardest thing? Matter of fact, you asking me to do something that nobody in this room said that they are willing to do. So I'm not asking you to bend the rules, but I'm trying to get you to understand kids from their perspective. So if it's, you got to understand something. You asking me to do the hardest thing on this earth. If I walk away from a fight, do you know how many other fights that put me in? You see me from 8 to 3. But I got to go back into an environment. If they find out that I walked away from a fight, I did exactly what you told me to do. Do you know how many other fights that put me in? But I'm asking you to understand kids from their perspective. Understand why they move in the direction that they are moving in. So you telling me you wouldn't walk away from a fight. But yet and I'm not asking you to bend the rules. I'm just trying to get you to understand kids from their perspective. Learn behaviors, right? I came from a house, they said, listen, if you got to use the restroom and they don't let you go, to do what? Mom, you gave me permission, so I don't fear home. Mom, I had to use it 5 times this morning. I don't fear home. Learn behaviors that allow me to come in and act. If I don't fear home? So a lot of kids are coming into your classroom right now with learn behaviors. And the world is asking you all right now to deal with that. I posted a video about this kid and this teacher fighting over a cell phone. Listen. It hurts me to understand when we condone kids arguing with adults and disrespecting adults. But it's my job and all the educators that's in this room to show the world why you all are so important. I made another post and I said, how is it that we would allow a football coach to curse a kid out? Now listen to me. I'm not on neither side. We allow a coach to curse a kid out to win a game, but the moment the teacher say one thing, it's on. Come on, our priorities are in the wrong spot. And I got that from a family member. I watched my nephew, my own blood. I watched the coach argue at my nephew, cursed him out on the field. I get a phone call the next week about a teacher that's arguing that was raising her voice at my nephew when I went off. And I said, ma'am, how is it that you allowed the coach to do it, but this teacher that see this kid more than you do? See, our priorities are in the wrong spot when it comes down to education. I told you, you all are the teacher. You all are the only profession that creates our profession. So if nobody ever told you, I tell you, I am so proud of you all, and I'm thankful for you all. If you all leave right now, they lose something. And I understand you're going to have those days. It's going to be 100 degrees in that classroom. The air going to stop working. You're going to get Tommie in that class, and you don't get paid to the end of the month. It's going to get challenging. It's going to get frustrating. But you got to always go back to the core of why you started teaching in the first place. Understanding that you are building a bridge and you're helping them cross. Let me explain who I am before I close. There were 6 of us in that house. Nobody in my family ever finished high school. I'm the youngest. I'm probably the youngest cousin. I came from a broken home. But my mom and dad were broken. Now I'm old enough, I got enough wisdom to understand now that my mom and dad were really doing the best that they could with what they had. My mom and dad were broken. My mom had my older brother at 14. My sister had her kid at 14. My mom and dad, my mom was a cafeteria worker and my dad was a custodian. My mom and dad had a gambling addiction that broke our house up. My mom played bingo and my dad shot dice. I was taught how to do both at a young age. Anything all I thought about was hustling growing up. I came from a hustling background. That's all we did it was about surviving. I watched my mom and dad fight at night. And then I got to go to school the next day and try to cope with that. You wonder why when I come and I'm aggressive with female teachers, I watch how my dad communicate. Albert Bandura said kids learn from observational learning. That means they don't learn from what you tell them, they learn from what you show them. And it'll show back up. I was helping somebody move the other day and I almost broke down. And I didn't even know I was still dealing with that. We was evicted from so many homes growing up. Do you know how many times we moved? So when I lift furniture now, it always take me back to a place. But it was this young lady next door to me. They said, "You're going to marry her when you grow up." I watched her get murdered, tattooed on my arm, drunk driver, killed her instant. I never been to a funeral a day in my life. Do you know how many people that died around me? Actor Tommy Ford from The Martin Show that you saw the video, that's my best friend before he died. I couldn't even go to his funeral because I'm still dealing with that face that I had to see. Like, I don't know if you understand how trauma occur. ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. What that does, that leads to toxic stress. Toxic stress is a structural alteration in your brain. So when you say that, look, he know better, he know right from wrong, but do he? Do he really? Because that's a blockage in his brain, right? Kids are so impulsive. So impulsive. So it's a part of his brain that's not fully developed. And they say research show that the normal male brain is not fully developed till you're 24. I'm 35, I just made it. I was kicked out of 10 schools. I got arrested my 5th grade year for breaking and entering. Imagine this 5th grader going through that process, that fingerprint process, putting that jumpsuit on, laying on that bed, that floor. Judge told me in 5 years I'd be dead or locked up. He created something when I walked out of there. I was kicked out of 7 elementaries and 3 middle schools. I tattooed my body in middle school. I started getting I got permanent gold teeth in middle school. Not something you could take out. I had to have surgery to get my golds removed. But I'm from the South too, you all. You can tell by this lingo. We say some of the crazy stuff. Both of them, some of them, none of them. You get it what we doing. I repeated 8th grade. I was kicked out of 10 schools. I tattooed my body at a young age. I had permanent gold teeth in middle school. It was hard to kind of reach me. I made it to high school. Standout basketball player, ranked in the country. Standout. Like, I didn't come to school to do nothing but basketball. I had a 1.8 GPA, 14 on my ACT, ranked in the country. And then I got shot my senior year in high school. You all, if you knew what I've been through to get to this point, the same guy that I smoked with put a bullet in me. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I skipped school. I went to the neighborhood, sitting on the car, and he dancing. The bullet was in the gun was in his pocket. He moved the wrong way, and it just said, boom. And I couldn't even move. I was stuck in one spot. And I'm that kid that usually play through injuries. I said, man, I knew I was shot. I said, just take me to basketball practice. I'm good. They said, nah, man, it's a little different. I remember getting to the hospital, blood was everywhere. See, I pivot off my left leg. I'm right-handed, so I jump off my left leg. I got shot in my left foot. That was the worst day of my life. Scholarships got revoked. I had a 1.8. The colleges that was recruiting me, they said, not only do you got a 1.8, you got a 14 on your ACT, and you got shot in the foot. We want it. That hurted me so bad to know that I let a guy that mean nothing to me, don't even have the same gift that I got, don't even have the same talent that I possess. He put a bullet in me. I laid on that bed and I cried. But I had to learn something. In order to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did and become a person you never been. Hold up, that was good. Let me say that one more time. In order to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did and become a person you never been. The person you used to be and the person you inspire to be can't be in the same room. The biggest decision I ever had to make to get in a better shape, I had to get out the circle I was in. Man, I've been through the storm. But one thing I know about the storm, after every storm, the sun come out. I didn't know what an adjective or pronoun, I couldn't even write a complete sentence in college. And I'm not even ashamed to tell you all, because if you look up there, I'm Dr. now though. I had a 1.8. I remember when people told me, man, don't go get the doctorate. Man, that dissertation is hard. Man, you want me to tell you what's hard? Somebody buried their son last night. You want me to tell you what's hard? Somebody battling cancer right now. You want me to tell you what's hard? Is somebody don't know where their next meal coming from. And you got the audacity to mix hard with challenges. If you get to that point, you should know how to write. That's a challenge. Yeah, it's time consuming, but hard. I know people that'll trade places with you. So I got to say this before I go. When I wake up in the morning and I put my foot on that ground, that's my first blessing. And I stand on that. It's people that'll trade places with you. When you get that kind of perspective and you understand that it's bigger than you, when the individual mindset switches from me to we, the driving force is different. So I go back to leveraging. Who have the advantage because of your presence? And who benefit from your existence? And who am I? I am Dr. Tommie Mabry. I wrote a quote that said, I cannot walk in my future with my foot in my past. God bless you all. That's my time. children's book. I got a little Tommy cartoon character that come to all the elementaries with me. That's my 4Bs. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, that's my social sites. My website is www.tommiemabry.com. Again, you all, thank you for having me.
One more round of applause for Dr. Mabry, please. Listen, we are at the end of the day for this portion of the program. At 5 o'clock, we'll go into the Superintendent Symposium, and we want each and every one of you to be there. We call it the Big Conversation, and we'll have 3 panels on 3 separate topic areas where we'll have superintendents, Ohio State Board members, district board members, representatives from ODE, I believe. It's going to be a very good engagement, and it'll give you an opportunity to interact with our superintendents and other panelists as well. So we want you to show up there. And then after that, immediately following that event, we have a very special reception in store for you. You're going to eat a little bit, going to drink a little bit, and we're going to hear some real good jazz live music, okay? So that's happening from 7 to 10, from 5 to 7, the Big Conversation, and we want you to be there. So thank you all for coming out for the afternoon plenary session, and again, many thanks to our brother, Dr. Tommie Mabry. Thank you, brother. Yeah, okay.